Deep within Earth's Interstellar Defense Command beneath the Rocky Mountains, Captain Olivia Reed's midnight shift at the Quantum Communications Array was interrupted by an alert she'd never seen before. The massive screen before her erupted with patterns that defied standard protocols, using frequencies that shouldn't even be possible. General Zhang, she called, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. Priority 1 signal detected. Sir, you need to see this. General David Zhang, a veteran of the Mars conflict with subtle neural augments visible at his temples, was at her station within moments. At 60, his military career had spanned humanity's first steps into space warfare, but nothing had prepared him for this. Origin point, he demanded, watching as the AI translation matrix struggled with the incoming data. The Arcturus sector, sir, approximately 40 light-years out. Reed's eyes widened as the first translated segments appeared. Sir, it's a distress call, but not just any distress call. They're specifically asking for our help. The signal repeated its message in mathematical patterns that transcended language barriers. It showed a peaceful civilization under attack by a massive invasion fleet. But what caught Zhang's attention was the detailed analysis of Earth itself included in the transmission. They've been watching us, he muttered, studying the data. They've classified Earth as a warrior world due to our gravity, atmospheric composition, and military history. Look at this, they've monitored our space battles with the Mars separatists. They've studied our combat capabilities. Reed leaned forward, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. Sir, according to this, their civilization has never developed significant military technology. They're peaceful explorers, scientists, and artists, but now they're facing extinction unless warriors come to their aid, Zhang finished. He straightened, his augments glowing faintly as he accessed the command network. Wake up the Joint Chiefs. Contact every major fleet commander. I want the War Council assembled within the hour. 4 hours later, in the gleaming War Council chamber in Geneva, humanity's military leadership gathered to make a decision that would change Earth's destiny forever. Admiral Claire Chen, commander of Earth's combined space forces, stood before the assembled officers and political leaders. The signal is authentic, she announced, her voice carrying across the hushed chamber. A civilization far more technologically advanced than our own faces annihilation. They have faster-than-light travel, energy shields, and quantum technology we've only dreamed of. But they lack something we have in abundance, the warrior spirit forged by evolving on a high-gravity world full of predators. Holographic displays showed the attacking force massive ships that dwarfed anything in Earth's fleet. The invaders, who they call the Void Fleet, have already conquered 3 star systems. Their victims are given one choice, surrender or extinction. No one has successfully resisted them, until now. And they reached out to us specifically, asked the Chinese fleet commander, his cybernetic eye scanning the data. A planet they've never contacted. Because they've studied our history, Chen replied. They've watched as we fought our way to the stars. They've seen how we turned the Mars rebellion into an opportunity to build the most advanced war fleet humanity has ever known. They're calling us Deathworlders, beings whose harsh planet forced us to become natural warriors. The room erupted in discussion until President Torres raised her hand for silence. What exactly are they asking of us, Admiral? Military intervention, Madam President. They're offering to share their advanced technology, FTL drives, quantum shields, energy weapons, in exchange for our protection. Everything we've dreamed of acquiring, freely given if we'll fight for them. The War Council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spent centuries looking to the stars, wondering if we were alone. Now our first major contact with an advanced civilization would be as their champions, their warriors. The first fleet can be ready in 48 hours, Chen continued. 30 warships are best crews. The new Titan-class battleships can be retrofitted for long-range deployment. We have the coordinates, and with their FTL specifications, we can reach them in time. President Torres looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each council member. The vote is called. Do we answer this call? Do we commit Earth's forces to this first interstellar war? The vote was unanimous. Humanity had been called upon, and we would answer. In orbit above Earth, final preparations were underway. The massive form of the EDS Valiant, Earth's newest Titan-class battleship, gleamed in the starlight as support craft swarmed around it. On the bridge, Admiral Chen watched as the rest of the fleet moved into formation, 30 ships representing the best of humanity's military might. All ships report ready, Admiral, Captain Reed announced from her tactical station. The young officer had been promoted and transferred to the flagship after discovering the initial signal. Chen settled into the command chair, her gaze fixed on the stars ahead. Send a message to the coordinates, tell them help is coming. She allowed herself a small smile. They called for warriors. Let's show them they called the right planet. As the fleet engaged their engines, preparing for their first faster-than-light jump, Chen couldn't help but wonder what these peaceful aliens would think when they actually met humans face to face. They had asked for warriors born on a death world. They were about to get exactly what they asked for. The EDS Valiant's bridge hummed with activity as the human fleet prepared for its first faster-than-light jump. Admiral Chen studied the alien technical specifications that had been included with the distress signal, her enhanced neural interface processing the complex calculations required for the jump. Engineering reports the alien FTL adaptations are integrated and stable, reported Commander Marcus Wung, his hands moving across the holographic engine controls. At 35, Wung was the youngest chief engineer in the fleet, a prodigy who had revolutionized Earth's fusion drive systems during the Mars conflict. All ships confirm successful installation of the quantum drive modifications, Captain Reed added from her station. The tactical display showed 30 warships in perfect formation, their newly modified engines pulsing with blue-white energy. Chen activated the fleet-wide communication channel. This is Admiral Chen to all ships. We are about to attempt humanity's first faster-than-light jump. We carry with us not just the hopes of Earth, but the survival of an entire civilization. Every one of you was chosen for this mission because you represent the best of humanity. Today, we prove that Earth's warriors are ready for the galactic stage. She nodded to Wang, begin the countdowns. The massive engines of 30 warships spun up in perfect synchronization. The stars ahead seemed to bend and twist as space itself prepared to yield to human technology augmented by alien science. Jump in 3, 2, 1. Reality shattered around them. The fleet pierced the barrier between normal space and something else entirely. Through the viewports, the crew watched in awe as strange energies coursed around their ships, carrying them faster than light itself. In the medical bay, Chief Medical Officer Dr. James Patel monitored the crew's biometrics during the jump. Despite their genetic enhancements and neural augments, this was the first time human bodies had experienced FTL travel. Remarkable, he muttered, studying the data. Our enhanced physiology is actually adapting to the quantum stress better than the alien calculations predicted. They really did underestimate how tough Earth made us. The journey that should have taken decades at sublight speeds lasted only 3 days in FTL. The fleet emerged in perfect formation at their designated coordinates, immediately going to battle stations as they scanned for threats. Status report, Chen commanded, her neural interface processing the flood of incoming data from all ships. All ships present and accounted for, Reed responded. Minor fluctuations in shield harmonics but nothing critical, weapon systems at full capacity. She paused, checking her readings. Admiral, we're picking up massive energy signatures from the inner system. The Void Fleet is already here. The main view screen activated, showing their first real look at the enemy. Massive black ships moved through space like predatory creatures, their surfaces seeming to absorb both light and sensor scans. They were stripping resources from a captured planet, breaking down entire continents into raw materials. Life signs on the planet? Chen asked, though she already feared the answer. None, Admiral, Reed replied quietly. The surface has been completely stripped, no survivors. Chen's expression hardened. This was why they had come, to prevent this from happening to anyone else. Signal the Astrian homeworld, let them know their warriors have arrived. The response was nearly instant. A holographic figure appeared on the bridge, tall, slender, with iridescent skin and large, expressive eyes. This was High Chancellor Orion of the Astrian Alliance, leader of the civilization that had called for Earth's help. Admiral Chen, the alien leader, spoke, their translator converting the musical language into English. You really came. When we sent the signal, many thought it was hopeless, that no one would risk their fleet to help strangers. Chancellor Chen replied with a formal nod. Earth's forces stand ready to assist, but we'll need to coordinate quickly. Our scans show the Void Fleet is already in your system. Yes, Orion's image flickered with obvious distress. They breached our outer defenses 2 days ago. Our scientific vessels are no match for their weapons. We've evacuated as many as we could to our hidden sanctuaries, but our homeworld. The alien leader paused, composing themselves. We have less than 48 hours before their main fleet arrives. Chen smiled grimly. Then we have 48 hours to teach your people how to fight back. Prepare your ships to receive our tactical teams. We'll show you how Earth's warriors handle impossible odds. Across the fleet, specialized combat teams prepared for deployment to Astrian vessels. Earth's military had spent centuries perfecting the art of war, developing tactics and strategies that had never occurred to the peace-loving Astrians. On the Valiant's training deck, Master Sergeant Diana Jackson put the final touches on her battle presentation. As Earth's foremost expert in space combat tactics, she would be leading the first training session with Astrian ship commanders. "They've got better technology than us in almost every way," she explained to her team. "But they've never had to use it for combat. We're going to show them how to turn their scientific vessels into warships, their research tools into weapons." In the engine room, Wang worked with Astrian engineers, showing them how to modify their power systems for combat. "Your quantum cores are incredibly efficient," he explained, "but you've got them optimized for research. We need to teach them to dance." The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. Human tactical teams spread throughout the Astrian fleet, teaching the basics of combat maneuvers, weapons optimization, and battlefield communication. The peaceful aliens proved to be quick studies, their advanced minds rapidly grasping concepts their culture had never needed before. Admiral Chen stood on the Valiant's bridge, watching as the combined fleet performed its first combat drill. Astrian ships moved in formation with Earth vessels, their advanced technology now humming with militant purpose. "The Void Fleet will expect to find frightened scientists," she said to her bridge crew. "Instead, they're going to find warriors, Earth's warriors fighting alongside students who learn very quickly." The tactical display showed the enemy fleet approaching. Soon, humanity would face its first interstellar battle. But as Chen watched the Astrian ships executing perfect combat maneuvers under human guidance, she knew they were ready. Earth had answered the call. Now it was time to show the galaxy why even advanced civilizations feared the warriors of a death world. The combined human-Astrian fleet held position in the shadow of a gas giant's largest moon, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Admiral Chen stood at the tactical display, her neural augments processing battle scenarios at impossible speeds. Beside her, High Chancellor Orion watched in fascination as the human commander orchestrated what would become their first major engagement. "Your people think differently than ours," Orion observed, noting how the human ships had positioned themselves to use the moon's magnetic field as cover. "We would never have considered using natural phenomena as tactical advantages." "On Earth, we learned warfare from predators," Chen replied, adjusting the fleet's formation. "Lions use terrain to ambush their prey, tigers use shadows to hide their approach. We've just scaled those lessons up to space." The tactical display showed the Void Fleet approaching 15 massive capital ships surrounded by smaller attack craft. They moved with absolute confidence, having never faced serious resistance in their campaign of conquest. "All ships battle stations," Chen commanded. "Remember your training, follow your human advisors. Today we show them what happens when you threaten a world protected by Earth." The Void Fleet passed the outer marker, their black ships beginning their standard resource-stripping formation. They had no reason to expect anything different from their previous conquests. Their sensors, designed to detect energy signatures, were nearly blind in the moon's magnetic interference. "Now," Chen ordered. 30 human warships and 50 Astrian vessels erupted from the magnetic storm, their weapons already locked on target. The Void Fleet's perfect formation shattered as human-designed combat algorithms, running on advanced Astrian quantum computers, predicted and exploited every weakness in their defense. "All ships execute attack pattern Theta," Chen commanded. The human vessels moved with practiced precision, their Astrian counterparts following in perfect synchronization. Fire. The space between the fleets erupted with energy as human weapons, enhanced by Astrian power systems, struck with devastating force. 3 void ships exploded before they could even raise their shields. "They're responding," Captain Reed reported from Tactical. "Enemy fleet attempting to form defensive pattern, but they're confused. Their tactical database doesn't have anything like our attack formations." The Void Fleet's counterattack was powerful but predictable. Their massive weapons could shatter planets, but they had never faced an enemy that understood true combat tactics. "Executing evasive pattern Delta 7, Chen announced. The combined fleet split into pre-planned attack groups, each led by a human tactical officer. All groups commenced synchronized strike protocols. What followed was a demonstration of why Earth's warriors had been worth waiting for. Human ships darted between the massive void vessels, their smaller size and superior maneuverability making them nearly impossible to target. Astrian vessels, now armed with Earth's combat protocols, used their advanced technology in ways their builders had never imagined. In the engine room of the Valiant, Commander Wung orchestrated a deadly dance of power management. Rerouting shield energy to forward weapons, he called out, executing reactor pulse in 3, 2, 1. The Valiant's main gun fired, its beams supercharged by Wung's power manipulation. The shot pierced straight through a void battleship's supposedly impenetrable shields, a feat that should have been impossible. "How did you do that?" asked Zara, the Astrian engineer assigned to study human tactics. "Their shield frequency should have." "We modulated our weapon frequency using sound wave patterns," Wung explained, already preparing for another shot. "Like how certain frequencies can shatter glass. On Earth, we learned to weaponize everything, even music." The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Void Fleet, for all its technological might, had never encountered an enemy that understood true warfare. They had no defense against human battle strategies, no counter for tactics evolved from millennia of terrestrial combat. "Enemy fleet is retreating," Reed announced, her voice tight with controlled excitement. 11 of their capital ships destroyed, the rest heavily damaged. No losses on our side, though 5 Astrian vessels report moderate damage. The bridge crew erupted in cheers, but Chen raised her hand for silence. "Don't celebrate yet, they'll be back and next time they'll be ready for us. This was just the first round." High Chancellor Orion stared at the tactical display, watching the remnants of the supposedly invincible Void Fleet flee into FTL. "By the stellar winds," they whispered. "The legends of Earth's warriors, they didn't do you justice. You didn't just fight them, you dominated them completely." "This is why we survived Earth," Chen replied, already planning for the next engagement. "Our world never gave us a choice. We had to become warriors just to survive our own planet. Now we're teaching you to do the same." Across the fleet, human tactical officers were already reviewing battle footage with their Astrian counterparts, pointing out opportunities for improvement. The aliens learned quickly, their advanced minds rapidly absorbing concepts their peaceful civilization had never needed before. "The Void Fleet will adapt," Chen announced to her command staff. "They'll analyze our tactics, try to counter our strategies. But that's the other thing about being from Earth, we're at our best when we're forced to innovate." She turned to Orion. "Have your scientists begun analyzing the debris from the destroyed enemy ships? The more we know about their technology, the better we can counter it." "Yes," Orion replied, "but Admiral, there's something else, something we detected during the battle, the Void ships. They're not just machines, there's something alive inside them, something that might explain why they're consuming entire worlds." Chen's expression hardened. This wasn't just about protecting the Astrians anymore. If the Void Fleet wasn't stopped here, they would eventually find Earth. And humanity had not come this far, survived their harsh world and reached the stars, to let any force threaten their home. "Then we'll need to move quickly," she said. "Because if they're alive, they can learn, and the next battle will make this one look like a warm-up exercise." As the combined fleet regrouped and began repairs, the stars seemed to watch in silence. Humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage not with diplomacy or trade, but with a display of martial prowess that would be remembered for centuries. The warriors of Earth had been called, and they had answered in spectacular fashion. But the real war was just beginning. The laboratory deck of the EDS Valiant had been converted into a joint human-Astrian research facility. Dr. James Patel stood before a holographic display showing the dissected remains of a Void ship's organic components, his neural augments struggling to process what he was seeing. "It's not just that they're alive," he explained to Admiral Chen and High Chancellor Orion. "These ships are a single consciousness split across multiple vessels. When we destroy one, the others learn from its death. They're evolving." "Like an immune system," Chen mused, her tactical mind already calculating the implications. "Each defeat makes them stronger, more resistant to our strategies." The hologram shifted, showing real-time footage of Void Fleet reinforcements arriving through long-range sensors. The new ships were different, their black hulls now rippled with organic armor plates, their weapon systems reconfigured based on their previous defeat. 50 capital ships, Captain Reed reported from her station. Their energy signatures are 30% stronger than the previous fleet. They've adapted their shields to resist our frequency modulation attacks. Commander Wung leaned forward, studying the enemy modifications. They've literally grown new organic armor, but look here, he pointed to energy readings. They had to sacrifice speed for protection. They're learning, but they're still thinking like machines, not like warriors. Chen turned to Orion. How long until they reach the inner system? 6 hours, the Astrian leader replied. Our long-range sensors can track them through FTL now thanks to your targeting modifications. But Admiral, these ships are far stronger than the ones we faced before. Good, Chen smiled grimly, because so are we. The combined fleet had spent the past week preparing for this moment. Human tactical officers had trained day and night with their Astrian counterparts, while engineers from both species worked to integrate their technologies in ways neither civilization had imagined possible. In the Valiant's massive hangar bay, Master Sergeant Jackson supervised the final modifications to their fighter squadrons. Astrian quantum drives had been integrated into Earth's combat vessels, while human weapon systems had been enhanced by alien power sources. The Void thinks they've evolved. Jackson watched as pilots from both species ran combat drills in the simulator. Wait until they see what happens when humans and Astrians really learn to fight together. The next 6 hours were a blur of preparation. Chen coordinated with fleet commanders, implementing battle strategies that would have been impossible just a week ago. The Human-Astrian alliance had created something entirely new, a fighting force that combined Earth's warrior instincts with advanced alien technology. All ships battle stations, Chen commanded as the enemy fleet dropped out of FTL. Execute Operation Thunderstrike. The combined fleet split into 3 battle groups, each implementing tactics that would have been suicidal before their recent innovations. Astrian science vessels, now armed with human-designed weapon systems, projected quantum fields that disrupted the Void ship's organic components. Earth vessels, their hulls enhanced by alien technology, drove straight into the enemy formation. They're attempting to adapt, Reed reported, watching as the Void ships tried to counter their attack. But their responses are fractured. The organic parts want to evolve, but the mechanical systems can't keep up. That's their weakness, Chen realized. They evolve like a living thing, but they're bound by machine logic. They can't make the intuitive leaps that organic warriors can. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies on both Earth and Astria for generations to come. Human ships executed maneuvers that should have torn them apart, their structures held together by Astrian quantum fields. Astrian vessels wielded weapons with a precision that matched Earth's finest gunners, guided by human combat AIs. In engineering, Wang orchestrated power flows like a conductor leading a symphony of destruction, redirecting quantum surge to weapons. He shouted as the Valiant dove through a gap in the enemy formation. Firing solution uploaded. The shot that followed broke every law of physics that either species had thought immutable. Human weapons, powered by Astrian quantum cores, struck with the force of a small sun. The Void ship's newly evolved armor crumpled under the assault. But the enemy was far from helpless. Their biological components spawned new defensive measures mid-battle, while their weapons grew progressively more deadly. Earth vessels took heavy damage, their crews saved only by Astrian shield technology. Astrian ships were forced to execute desperate evasive maneuvers, relying on human tactical guidance to survive. Portside critical, Reed called out as the Valiant shuddered under enemy fire. Void ships are starting to predict our attack patterns. Then we'll give them something they can't predict, Chen replied. All ships implement Chaos Protocol Delta. It was a strategy born from Earth's own evolutionary history, the way small mammals had survived among dinosaurs. The combined fleet scattered in seemingly random directions, their movements based on chaos theory algorithms that no logical system could anticipate. The Void fleet's rigid formation broke apart as they tried to track targets that moved like startled prey animals. But this prey had teeth, and each scattered ship carried weapons that could tear through evolved armor. Their organic components are experiencing massive stress, Patel reported, monitoring the biological readings. The disconnect between their living and mechanical systems is growing. They can't maintain cohesion. The battle reached its crescendo as the combined fleet regrouped for a final assault. Human and Astrian ships moved in perfect synchronization, implementing tactics that had been impossible just hours before. All ships execute killing stroke, Chen commanded. The Void fleet, for all its evolutionary adaptations, couldn't counter an attack pattern based on both human combat experience and Astrian scientific principles. Their formation collapsed entirely as the combined fleet struck from multiple vectors, their advanced organic armor useless against weapons they couldn't predict. When the energy discharges finally faded, more than half the Void fleet lay in ruins. The survivors fled into FTL, their organic components broadcasting patterns of distress that human sensors could now detect. "They're scared," Orion said softly, watching the enemy retreat. For the first time since they began their conquest, the Void fleet knows fear. "Fear is the beginning of wisdom," Chen replied, quoting an ancient Earth proverb. "But this isn't over. They'll return with an even larger force with new evolutionary adaptations." She turned to her bridge crew, seeing the same determination in human and Astrian faces alike. "And when they do, we'll be ready, because while they evolve through combat, we evolve through cooperation. They learn from defeat, but we learn from each other." As damage reports came in and repair crews began their work, Chen knew that the next battle would be even harder. But she also knew something else, something that filled her with fierce pride. The galaxy had called for warriors, and humanity had answered. But in doing so, they had created something even stronger than warriors alone. They had forged an alliance that combined the best of both civilizations, proving that Earth's greatest strength wasn't just its capacity for warfare. It was humanity's ability to take the best of themselves and share it with others, creating something greater than either species could have achieved alone. The combined fleet orbited Astria Prime, its ships bearing the scars of previous battles. On the bridge of the EDS Valiant, Admiral Chen studied the long-range sensor data with growing concern. The Void fleet was returning, and this time they had brought everything. 300 capital ships, Captain Reed reported, her voice steady despite the implications. "They've stripped their entire empire of combat vessels for this assault. Energy signatures are off the charts. They've evolved far beyond their original configurations." Dr. Patel's hologram appeared on the bridge, his research team working frantically behind him. "The organic components have fully merged with their mechanical systems. They're no longer fighting the disconnect between biology and technology. They've become something new." "So have we," Chen replied, turning to High Chancellor Orion. The Astrian leader had changed over the weeks of war, their formerly peaceful demeanor now carrying a warrior's resolve. "Are your people ready?" "They were born scientists," Orion said, "but thanks to Earth they've learned to be warriors. Every ship, every crew member is prepared. If this is to be our final battle, we face it together." The combined fleet had grown as well. 60 Earth warships now fought alongside 100 Astrian vessels, their crews no longer divided by species but united by shared combat experience. Every ship carried both human and Astrian crew members, each bringing their unique strengths to the coming battle. Commander Wang's voice came over the comm from engineering. "Final modifications are complete, Admiral. We've integrated the new quantum fusion hybrid drives across the fleet. They're unstable, but the power output is unlike anything either of our species has ever achieved." "Like Earth itself," Chen mused, "unstable, powerful, and exactly what we need." She opened a channel to all ships. "This is Admiral Chen. The enemy approaches with everything they have. They've evolved, adapted, and grown stronger from every defeat, but so have we." She paused, looking at the mixed crews on her bridge, humans and Astrians working in perfect synchronization. When the Astrians sent out their call for warriors, they didn't just get Earth's military might. They got humanity's greatest strength, our ability to adapt, to teach, to forge alliances that make both sides stronger. Today, we prove that the greatest force in the galaxy isn't evolution, technology, or even warfare. It's unity. The Void fleet dropped out of FTL in an attack formation that filled the sky with black ships. Their organic armor rippled with deadly purpose, weapon systems pulsing with enough power to shatter planets. They had evolved to counter every strategy, every tactic that the combined fleet had previously used. But they hadn't counted on what Earth's warriors and Astrian scientists could create together. "All ships execute Operation Nova Dawn," Chen commanded. The combined fleet split into 12 battle groups, each implementing combat patterns based on Earth's Predator Pack tactics enhanced by Astrian quantum mathematics. Human ingenuity merged with alien science to create warfare on a level the galaxy had never seen. In the Valiant's fighter bay, Master Sergeant Jackson led squadrons of human and Astrian pilots in attacks that defied conventional physics. Their fighters, rebuilt with technology from both species, moved like stellar dragons through the chaos of battle. "They're trying to adapt," Reed reported as the Void ships attempted to counter their attacks. But they can't predict our movements. Their evolutionary algorithms can't process our hybrid tactics. The battle space became a quantum hurricane of energy weapons, relativistic missiles, and ships moving in patterns that rewrote the rules of space combat. Human warriors and Astrian scientists worked as one, each complement enhancing the other's strengths. Main enemy formation is breaking apart, Wang called from engineering. Their organic systems are overloading trying to process our attack patterns. Now's our chance. All ships, Chen commanded, execute final protocol Omega. The combined fleet's formation shifted into something that was neither human nor Astrian, but a perfect fusion of both species' battle philosophies. Earth's combat vessels charged forward like ancient cavalry, while Astrian ships provided supporting fire with precision that defied belief. The Void Fleet's previously unbeatable organic technology proved to be their weakness. Their adaptive capabilities, designed to counter logical attacks, couldn't handle the intuitive leaps of human combat tactics merged with Astrian scientific principles. Their evolution had made them powerful but predictable. The combined fleet was neither. Enemy ships are experiencing cascade failures, Patel reported excitedly. Their organic components can't maintain cohesion under quantum temporal stress. Their entire network is collapsing. The battle reached its crescendo as the Valiant led a final charge into the heart of the enemy formation. Human determination powered by Astrian technology struck with the force of an artificial supernova. The Void Fleet's carefully evolved defenses shattered under an assault they couldn't comprehend, let alone counter. When the quantum fire cleared, the enemy force was in ruins. The few surviving ships fled into FTL, their organic components broadcasting signals that required no translation, absolute defeat. The combined fleet had suffered heavy damage, but as repair crews began their work, a different kind of energy filled the communication channels. Not just victory celebrations, but the sound of two species that had forged something unprecedented in the galaxy. They won't return, Orion said confidently, watching the enemy retreat. Their entire evolution was based on consuming the weak. They can't adapt to facing strength like ours. Because we gave them something their evolution couldn't handle, Chen replied. We showed them that true strength comes from unity, not conquest, from teaching and learning, not just adapting. The aftermath of the battle brought changes that would reshape the galaxy. The Human-Astrian alliance became the foundation of a new interstellar partnership. Earth's warriors would continue to stand ready to defend peace, while Astrian scientists helped humanity reach new technological heights. 6 months later, Admiral Chen stood in the Great Hall of the newly established Galactic Defense Council. Representatives from dozens of species had gathered to join the alliance, drawn by the story of how humanity had answered a desperate call for help and created something revolutionary in the process.